What up, your boy MC Shadow? Gonna bring you the rest of the IE. Now, in this one, I'm gonna be bouncing around because these are just neighborhoods that only have like cities that only have one neighborhood. So I'm gonna be all over the damn place, bouncing around all over the IE. You know what I mean? But here's for the rest of the IE riders, the Midland Empire riders that be representing, and we're gonna be starting off with.
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment. Make sure you subscribe and check out the playlist.
I grew up hearing gunshots in the late night. Ghetto bird, police sirens as a mother cries. Just another victim of the Soundbrown genocide. Locos posted, locked and loaded, ready to take lives. And when they heard the chief late, they would duck up out of sight. Like your car when the sun down, it was mission time. You had to stay alert, cause bullets always travel blind. We stayed posted, we stayed drinking, and we getting high. Marchando down the enemy's neighborhood as we ride. Put the hood, put the cliques and put fuck their side. No regrets, but the truth is no peace of mind.
G-File.
Here we have Young Classic. Now, Young Classic is a neighborhood right here in Lake Elsinore. They've been around since the late 70s, early 80s. You can find them right here on Sumner. On Sumner and Silver is where you can find their neighborhood. You know what I mean? And also right here through Davis and Campus Way is where their neighborhood's at. Now, like I have said before, don't think just because an area looks nice and all of that that they some pushovers. Nah, man, these guys are with it. They've been definitely putting it down for their neighborhood for a cool minute. Because they go at it right here with the Cribs, because they got to share their neighborhood with the Cribs. You know what I'm saying? They're roughly a small neighborhood, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, man, they do their thing and, keeping it active over here for the neighborhood and, yeah, representing. Here's another neighborhood out of Lake Elsinore. Elsinore Vatos Locos. You can find them on Amber and Flanny, or you can find them on Kansas and Luwan Street. So they have two locations in Lake Elsinore where their neighborhood's at. Their territory is a lot smaller than Young Classics, but nonetheless, man, they definitely right here representing, going at it with the Crips around here, and even though they're not as large, they still be right here representing and keeping it, active and holding it down for their say. You know what I mean? Here you have Northside Beaumont. Now, Northside Beaumont, you can find them right here on 10th and Orange. They're the only neighborhood in Beaumont, pretty large in size. Been around since the early 80s, late 70s, where you can find their when their neighborhood was established. They're a pretty decent sized neighborhood. You know what I mean? Definitely right here holding it down. That's why they're the only neighborhood, right here. Yeah, man, they be doing their thing and representing for their neighborhood. Now here you have Hemet La Raza. They're on the east side of Hemet. Now there was a Hemet 1-3. Hemet 1-3 was right there on Oakland and State. But they kind of died out already. You can't, you don't really hear nothing about them no more. But east side, Hemet La Raza, you definitely see them up. They definitely keep it active. They're a younger neighborhood, obviously, because they used to be a tank crew that became a neighborhood. Only been around since the 90s. You know what I mean? But yeah, you definitely hear about them. You definitely see them doing their thing, keeping it active right here on the east side of Hemet for their neighborhood. Their neighborhood is right there through Calabash and Marywood, through Mayberry is where you can find their neighborhood. You know what I mean? Definitely holding it down right there. Keeping it active for their neighborhood right there on Hemet, and yeah, that's what's up with the Hemet La Raza, you know what I mean, on the east side of Hemet. Now here you have Hemet. Now, Hemet 13 is a neighborhood that was around since the late 80s, mid 80s. Now you don't really see them up as much no more. You see more of East Hemet La Raza. than you do him at 1-3. Hey, but nonetheless, they're right here on in Oakland and State. That's where you can find their neighborhood. And yeah, man, they be right there representing for Hemet, and yeah, that's their neighborhood. Even though they weren't really big and roughly small, you don't really see the activity that much. Nonetheless, the other neighborhood, uh, still find some of them roaming around and yeah, doing their thing. Here you have Roman Land Vario Locos or Roman Land Vatos Locos. Either way, it's how they write it. Now their neighborhood is right there on Monroe and 2nd, Monroe and 3rd, 4th, by the Elsinore Park is where you can find their neighborhood too. They be right there kicking it, at the parque. But yeah, what's Monroe and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, throughout Monroe is where you can find Roman Land Vario Locos, which is RVLS. And yeah, they just be holding it down right there for the neighborhood and doing the thing. You definitely see them up. They definitely keep it active and yeah, right there representing for their neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Now here you have San Juan. Now San Juan is the only neighborhood right here in San Juan on First Street. The First Street gang, how they call it right here. Their neighborhood's right there on Jordan and Main and Med. Throughout First Street is where you can find their neighborhood. Their neighborhood has been around since the 80s. Large in size because, they're the only neighborhood right here, holding down the whole show. You know what I mean? You definitely hear about them. They definitely keep it active. They ain't no chumps, they got their whole city on lockdown and, you definitely hear about the activities that, that they be up to. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's what's up with, San Juan holding it down right here for the First Street gang. Here you have another neighborhood that's been around since the 80s, right here on Old Town Drive, which is Old Town Temecula, OTT, O-double-T, you can see them up OTT or you'll see it up O-2T, you know what I mean, the 2T gang. So that's Old Town Temecula. Like I said, their neighborhood's right there on Old Town Drive and Front and 6th is where you can find their neighborhood. They're pretty decent in size, you know what I mean, and they've been around already for a cool minute. So they be representing right there for Temecula. I know some people think that Temecula don't got no neighborhoods, but yeah, you got the old towners right here, holding it down for their neighborhood and representing, for the. Now here you have a neighborhood, Fallbrook. Now Fallbrook is definitely a large neighborhood, definitely active. You definitely hear about them. You know what I mean? Another neighborhood that be making the news. With all the sweeps and murders and all of that. They've been around since the late 70s, early 80s. You definitely hear about Fallbrook. You know what I mean? Their neighborhood is large in size. They get it cracking. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't let areas fool you. Just because they look nice and everything like that. Like this neighborhood definitely has their city on lockdown, and yeah, man, they be here, representing for the neighborhood. Shout out to the homie Sapo. Shout out to Wacko, and shout out to the homie Blanco from Fallbrook. Those are some firme with it, big with it homies. You know what I mean? So I definitely know that they be right there representing for the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Now here you have Perez Maravillas. Now Perez Maravillas is not a part of the Maravilla gangs from East LA. It's a whole different thing. Has nothing or no connection, just a coincidence on the last name. Now, why is it called Perez Maravilla? Now, their neighborhood right here in Perris have been around since the late 80s, early 90s. The reason it's called Perez Maravilla is because the founder's last name was Maravilla. So that is the reason for it being labeled Perez Maravilla. You know what I mean? Now, you can find them right there on Perris and 7th through um, Pale Street. I think that's the name how you say that street. Now they think that a lot of people get it confused that that all these other neighborhoods out here, like Powell Street, 7th Street, and everything like that, they're their own neighborhood. But it's not that. It's just that Perez Maravilla has a gang of cliques. You know, most of the streets right here in Perris, they claim it as a clique. So almost all their cliques are named after one of the streets right here in Perris. That's the reason why a lot of people sometimes think that that there's like so many neighborhoods in Perris. But what it actually is that they got a bunch of cliques, and that's the reason for that. You know what I mean? The only one that's separate from them is Perris 7th Street. They're the only ones that they're their own neighborhood. But the rest of them do belong to, you know, Perez Maravilla, and like I said, man, they large in numbers and they definitely be doing their thing. Here's another neighborhood, Brown Pride Locos, right here in the city of Perris. You know what I mean? Right there by the park is where you can find Brown Pride Locals going at it with the Perris neighborhood. Perris and Brown Pride definitely, you know, have beef. You can see them Brown Pride Malditos or Brown Pride Locos, you know, depending on the clique. You know, BP, you know, G or BPLS. But yeah, that's who they are, and they used to be a 10 crew, and now I can't confirm if they're a 1-3, but that's what they write, and definitely going at it right here and representing for the neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Even though they're smaller than Perris, because like I said, they used to be a 10 crew and only around since the 2000s, but nonetheless, that's who they are, and yeah, they're representing right there.